Stop creating or giving into or feeding into a legacy of sacrifice that is unnatural for you and your true identity as a cosmic being. We're getting into the sacrifice link and how that relates to our experience with money and how we have experienced money on our spiritual odyssey. But before we jump into that, let me introduce myself. I am Tamara Tamu. This is the Unleashed Alchemy YouTube channel, where on this channel we talk about going against the grain so that you can call the unseen into the seen to live a soul-fulfilled life full of spiritual revelation, revolution, liberation, and freedom. All right, let's get into this episode. So this is going to mark the last episode of this money focused series that we have been doing. This is now part 13, I think. Part 13, we'll go with that. It's a lot of parts. So anyway, in this last part, and also too, you all let me know if you'd like for me to do a live, which will be a summary of all of these behavioral pattern links that we have covered. And then I also want to share with you just a few of the questions that you can find in the book that inspired this series, this YouTube series, my book, Tales of a Money Maven, How Religious and Other Programming Has Fucked Up Your Money. It is available in paperback on Amazon right now. So I pulled a few questions that I'd like to share with you. These questions will invite you to observe your consciousness level and where you are with money and how you view money, your perspective of money, and it will help you understand your experiences with money. All right. So let me know if you'd like for me to do that live. I would be happy to do so. Also, we can use it as a question and answer session as well. Also, to assist you even more on your spiritual odyssey with money in all aspects of your life, to help you find your spiritual gifts so that you can be liberated in your spiritual science, so that you can know how to use your magic, so that you can know and embrace and be confident in your calling, in your many different purposes that you came here to fulfill. I provide one-on-one support. Book a complimentary call with me today so that we can talk about how I can support you on your odyssey. Let's get into today's episode. So this is the sacrifice link. Now, this one is sort of a summary of the guilt link, the self-deserving link, and possibly the servitude link. I feel like those are all intertwined, but the sacrifice link still deserved its own section. So many of us grew up hearing phrases, from our parents, such as, my parents sacrificed what they wanted so that I could have a decent childhood, and now I want to do the same for you. Now, any loving parent, any parent that is more than willing to fulfill their obligation as a parent, as they are raising their kids into adults, any parent, good parent, would say that, right? But what I want to invite you to consider is, how does that statement impress the subconscious mind, especially the subconscious mind of a young mind? That sacrifice becomes a legacy. Why do I say that? Because if you notice in the statement, my parents sacrificed so that I could have a decent childhood, and now I'm doing the same. That is a legacy of sacrifice that is not required for abundant living, nor has it ever been. When does the sacrifice stop? Well, you know what I'm going to say. It stops with you. When you allow your abundant identity, when you allow a mindset of abundance and self-care to be the driving force in your life. Now, some people will call this selfish. You can call it what you want. We'll get into that in another episode. Now, here's what I want you to understand. In no way do my words discount any type of sacrifices anyone has made for anyone in their life, because we may never know the extent of those sacrifices. Yet, there is another way of existing in an abundance identity that does not require all of these sacrifices. Even you still have people that have sacrificed so much. Some people have sacrificed so much and they still don't believe that they deserve what they desire. Why? Because they are operating from the sacrifice link. Their identity is still rooted and grounded in sacrifice. We identify those people who don't do for themselves. They are caught in a sacrifice loop. It's always, and they carry it with a badge. Almost like wearing a t-shirt. Oh, I just always do for other people. And they're very quick to say that. You can still do for other people if that is what you enjoy, and yet still allow abundance for yourself to be your driving force. We have to understand how, when we work on our identity as an abundant being, we have to understand that that is more powerful. It is more powerful than us forsaking ourselves and just doing for other people. To do for yourself is to automatically do for other people, because now you're doing for yourself. Now you are exuding. There's this vibration coming off of you that says, I am a light of abundance. I am a light of prosperity. I am healing. I am health. I am peace. I am love, because you have cultivated that identity. So, what does the sacrifice loop do? Oftentimes, we find ourselves at the bottom of a list. Even worse, sometimes we don't even put ourselves on a list. We don't have to even bring in religion as far as that is concerned. However, religious programming has had its hand in that as well. Because as I have said repeatedly in other videos in this series, in religion, depending on which religion you come from, there is this logic that puts God first, people second, and there's a whole list of people in there, and then you last. Even as a child, it was so funny. I always understood that if you don't take care of yourself, that list hierarchy never made sense to me. Because if you are doing all of these things for other people, and as far as God being first, this God that's supposed to be all powerful, couldn't he have taken care of himself? That was always a question that I had in my mind. This God that someone called a male that sit up in the sky on the throne, he wasn't powerful enough to take care of himself? That was always a question. Of course, didn't ask it out loud. It was always in here. But I always understood that if you don't take care of yourself first, how can you have the energy to care for other people? Cultivating your internal environment, cultivating and building up your internal harmony is not a luxury. It is a necessity. It is a necessity. So, from that, I learned that the level of sacrifice determined my worth in having good things, including money. So I live my life judging myself on how much I sacrificed. This is why the sacrifice kept going, because no one ever said, okay, well, this is, if you get to this point, this is how you know that you've sacrificed enough. So I judge myself on how much time I gave to other people, how much of my money I gave to other people, how often I gave up joy to do things I didn't want to do to hopefully live a life that I didn't need a vacation from. All right. So the story that I lived by was that, now we're talking about money again, to have money or otherwise, there was going to be, and it was required, that I had to make sacrifices, including sacrificing my joy. So suppose I had one good thing that happened. That meant an automatic sacrifice for something else. Instead of cultivating my internal environment that says, you can have it all. You can have it all. You already have it all. So if there were too many good things that were happening all at one time, my focus was taken off of that and almost scared as if something was wrong. People do this today. People full grown do this today. What's that phrase that we always hear? Oh, I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. People may not say it that way now, but there are other iterations. There are many iterations of that same phrase. Oh, things are going too good. Something must be wrong. You see how we have cultivated in our nervous system this identity that is full of sacrifice, as if everything going right is wrong. This is why we have to raise our consciousness level. All right. So my operating story was that I needed to choose what I desired, because I couldn't have, if I desired 5 things, then I had to choose 2. I couldn't have all. So that placed a possibility cap on every single aspect of my life. The audacity to think that you can have all 5, well, that was madness, right? So right before the release of my book, Tales of a Money Maven, on Amazon, paperback, right before the release of the book, I had a conversation with an individual who made a daily decision to live with the belief that they have to keep what they love, what they're absolutely passionate about, what they're absolutely a genius at, as a side hustle. And what was interesting, as I listened to this person talk, I watched their body language, their face and body language, and it was very clear to me that they made this story their identity. They looked to be in frustration, as if they were trying to prove their own words to themselves, that they were satisfied with keeping what they truly love as a side hustle or a volunteer or a hobby, is how they put it. So the tension in that person's body and words had already resisted any possibility beyond what had settled in their nervous system. And this observation, it was an observation, wasn't a judgment, because I had been there before. Now, I could have invited them to consider a different story, a new identity where joy and fulfillment are not sacrificed, that joy, fulfillment, and money go together. And I could have offered that there is an elevated operating system where success and abundance are not tied to sacrifice. Yet there are some people who are not ready to hear that. They're not ready to hear that new way of being. But that's not you, because you're here. So, because of my own experience, what I do know is that it is never too late to discover your identity that has been waiting to be unleashed and to uncover your elevated operating system that says that there is no sacrifice required, that you can have all that you desire, that you don't have to pick and choose. There is no either or. It is and it is all, because you are all. All right. So I want you to take that. This is the last episode in this money series. If there's anything that you'd like for me to elaborate on, number one, get the book, Tales of a Money Maven, How Religious and Other Programming Has Fucked Up Your Money. It is available on paperback on Amazon. All right. Number two, let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Also, if you are wanting to work with me one-on-one in your spiritual odyssey, I offer that support. I love to do it. All right. You will receive transformation working with me. I use my experience through metaphysics, through hidden knowledge. Okay. And that's what I bring to these sessions that you will have with me. 12 sessions, okay, that you'll have with me, because it is a coaching package, not a one-off situation. So schedule a complimentary call. It is more of a discovery call. Again, it's complimentary, to where we can talk to see what your spiritual needs are and how I can support you. The link for my book, the link to schedule a call with me, is in the description box of this video. So until the live session, cheers.